Hello everyone and welcome to Kay's Cakes, the show where I veganize your favorite recipes. Today we are back with the MCU Bake-A-Thon in my personal favorite series, the Captain America movies. Today we are baking in honor of Captain America, Winter Soldier. And for the Winter Soldier himself, we're going to be making Baked Alaska. Alaska is not that far from Russia. He was frozen. It's frozen. Yeah, we get it. So if you don't know what a baked Alaska is, it is a dessert in 3 parts. So we're gonna make a cake, and I have some vegan ice cream. We're also going to make an Italian meringue. So there's a slight difference between a French meringue and an Italian meringue. There's also a Swiss meringue, but I am still learning what that is, so don't worry about that one. French meringue is one where you would be baking cookies. So when we're doing non-vegan meringue, it's done with egg whites. So you don't add any heat to the egg whites for a French meringue. You just let it get nice and light and then bake it. An Italian meringue is done with warm, hot simple syrup. So it would theoretically cook the egg whites. For vegan meringue, we obviously don't use egg whites, but same concept will apply. We're going to use a simple syrup and aquafaba. But the first thing actually that I need to do is I'm going to take my bowl. So this is the bowl I'm going to use to shape my ice cream. I just need to line it with plastic wrap before I put ice cream in it, so it is easier to demold later. So that's the very first thing. Now, this is a brand new roll of plastic wrap, so I got to figure out where it starts. So for this cake, you'll need flour, cocoa powder, baking soda, baking powder, salt, brown sugar and white sugar, dairy-free yogurt, and oil without any strong flavor like canola. Okay, so now I've got my bowl lined with plastic wrap. I'm just gonna put the ice cream right in there. So I am using a dairy-free salted caramel cluster ice cream, and I will be making a chocolate cake to go with it. Now I bought 2 of these, hoping it would be enough. It might not be, but it's all personal preference how full you want the bowl to be, because it does go on top of the cake. So it's like, how big of an ice cream layer do you want, really? What we don't want is air pockets in the ice cream layer. So I'm just smushing it down a little bit. And like I said, I got another one, exact same flavor. As you guys have probably guessed, if you've been watching all my episodes, I am a fan of chocolate. We've had quite a few chocolate bakes lately. So I could have done a different flavor cake, but just based off the limited supply, limited choice we have in vegan ice cream, I figured chocolate would be a safe bet. So that's why I went with that. Now that is the ice cream layer. You can, of course, choose to make your own ice cream. I think it's a bit of a pain in the butt and also deserving of an episode all on its own. So I just am not doing that today. I'm just putting the plastic wrap over it so we don't get any frostbite on this layer, and just put it in the freezer for at least an hour. So it should be ready to go by the time your cake is baked. All right. So ice cream in a bowl in the freezer. Now we're getting ready to make the cake. So we're going to start with the dry ingredients. I'm going to start with a cup plus 2 tablespoons of flour. So there's a cup and 2 tablespoons. A 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. This cocoa powder thing is too small. So 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Sorry, baking soda. Well, it's 1/2 teaspoon of both, so take that as you will. There's my baking soda. Okay. And a pinch of salt. There's most of my dries. I'm just going to give them a quick whisk. And then add the sugars. So that's a 1/3 cup of brown sugar, or whatever brown sugar substitute you prefer. I use coconut palm sugar for brown sugar. 1/3 cup of your white sugar as well. So now there's all the dry ingredients. I'll give those a quick whisk as well. Okay, I'm gonna switch. In a smaller bowl, in a separate bowl, I'm gonna combine a cup of my non-dairy yogurt. This is unsweetened vanilla coconut milk yogurt alternative. So vanilla or any like unflavored yogurt substitute is fantastic. That's a 1/2 cup. I don't want to do that. I've made that mistake before. It didn't work out well for me. So a cup of fake yogurt, as well as a 1/3 cup of your oil. I have canola oil today. Now I probably should have preheated the oven before I started doing this. Well, you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 180 degrees Celsius. So as soon as my oil pours, I'm going to heat up my oven. Okay. Mix that up. Just mix those two together really quick as best as you can. And then now I'm going to combine this yogurt oil mix into my dry ingredients. Forgot to preheat my oven, so I'm gonna do that right now, and then I'm gonna pour the batter. Okay, so that's going. So it's gonna take a little bit to get that going. And then I have lined an 8-inch round cake pan with the round parchment paper. I also sprayed it with some cooking spray just to make sure. We really wanna make sure the cake is able to get out of the mold. So grease your pan. And then pour the batter. This is a little bit of a thick batter. So I'm trying to smooth this out. And don't worry about it looking thin because it'll have space to rise, but we also have plenty more goodness that will go on top of it. And as soon as my oven is hot, I'm going to pop it in for about 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes. That's good chocolate cake. Okay, so we have the ice cream going, we got the cake going, everything's going. Gotta get the meringue going. So the first step is to measure out 1/3 cup of aquafaba, which I have drained from a can of garbanzo beans, otherwise known as chickpeas. So 1/3 cup. I'm also going to add a pinch of xanthan gum, and also a pinch of cream of tartar to help it stiffen. So just a little bit of that. And a little bit of that. And we want it to form soft peaks. So I'm gonna go with my hand mixer. Okay. So soft peaks is the stage at which it starts leaving ridges where the whisk passes through. So that's it. We got to soft peak stage. Now I actually need to make a simple syrup, which is just water and sugar. So I'm gonna be on the stove. We just need a basic, like, small saucepan type pot. And I also have a thermometer, like a candy thermometer in there. Okay, so for the meringue, or for the simple syrup, I'm just gonna do a 1/4 cup of water to start, and then 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of sugar. I've actually switched to my regular sugar just because finer sugar is easier to dissolve and it will work better with the meringue. So I just gave it a little stir to make sure all my sugar's in the water, and I'm looking for it to get to anywhere between 242 and 248 degrees Fahrenheit, which is why we have the candy thermometer.
Are you stirring it at all?
So we want to be very, very careful while we're doing this. I've gotten sugar burns. They're not a good time. Just already be whisking the meringue when you go to pour in the sugar at like a medium speed. Hang on, there's something wrong with my, oh, yep, there is something wrong with my mixer. It's covered in sugar syrup. I kind of want to start the meringue over. Perfect. All right, chocolate cake done. So I'll turn the oven off. All right, that's come back to soft peak stage. I'm just waiting for the second round of simple syrup. We're almost there. We're at 210. I'm gonna try and take it off a little bit faster this time. It's not doing the thing. All right, so Italian meringue is a very difficult thing to do. I am learning that as I am now on my 3rd attempt, and we're going to try it one more time using a little information that I just double checked on. 1, don't stir the sugar syrup, period. It needs to come to 240 degrees Fahrenheit without stirring it. And 2, pour it, when you add it to the soft peak meringue mix thing, pour it in a thin stream. So you want to pour it kind of quickly so it doesn't cool, but in a thin stream so it gets incorporated better. So we do 1/3 cup of aquafaba, 1/3 cup of aquafaba, and then a pinch of xanthan gum and a pinch of cream of tartar. Let it come to soft peak stage, then add the simple syrup, speed it up to high, and it should get nice and glossy. So hopefully that's what's gonna happen this time. If not, then we just have an ice cream cake, which is fine. And then we'll revisit Italian meringue in the future because I do want to show you guys how to make it, but running out of ingredients. The other thing is that if you have a finer sugar that works better with meringue, so I know I typically use this unrefined cane sugar, might have to find an alternative because the grains on it are rather large. Okay. So with all that said, I'm just gonna go for it. 3rd time's the charm. 1/3 of a cup aquafaba in the stand mixer, and then my pinch of xanthan gum. I'm gonna give it a generous pinch, and a pinch of cream of tartar. We're at soft peak. This has to get up to 240. Because I hear clonking, like it, yeah, it got all stiff again.
Alright.
That looks kind of cool though, with the sugar. So, it is glossy. It's not quite as stiff as I wanted. It's almost a meringue. It tastes good. Like, this is the right shininess, right? But it should be like up more, I guess, is the best. Ah, that's still very hot. Is the best way to say that. So now let's assemble our cake, our baked Alaska. So I would say let the cake cool out of the oven for at least 15 minutes, but I've been trying to get this meringue right, so mine's pretty cool. Take the ice cream out. In its dome-like shape. Except for some chunks that got caught in plastic wrap. So, not perfect, but what in this bake has been. And then, to the best of my ability, I'm gonna get some meringue on top here. Oh, hello, big chunk of solidified sugar. It really is more like marshmallow fluff than a meringue. But you know what? It's gonna taste good. Normally what you would do is you would have these big peaks, because there's a lot of air worked in, but mine didn't work out. And then you would go at it with a chef's blowtorch. Still browns like a meringue. What would Paul Hollywood say? It's a little rough and ready. But, you know, you do what you can do. Meringue is a challenge. I did not succeed today. Well, I half succeeded. Let's put it that way. At any rate, this is a show about real baking. And it does not always go perfect. And we have almost a baked Alaska. So, regardless of your level of success, put it in the freezer till 15 or 20 minutes before you want to serve it. Slice it up. There you go. That's how you make a vegan baked Alaska. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Leave comments down below of recipes you would like to see me try to veganize. Go ahead and subscribe if you'd like to see more, if you're interested in more of the MCU Bake-A-Thon and other vegan bakes. And also go ahead, check out my Patreon in the description down below. All the funds from that goes to like kitchen equipment and ingredients, such as my fancy blowtorch. And I will see you in the next one.